to the true contenders. Don't forget about us. We might have the 2 best players in the league, guys. The 2 best finals performances anybody has had in the last half decade are by these 2 guys. They are still unique unicorns. That's redundant, but you understand what I mean. Like nobody else has a player like either one of those guys, and good, maybe not great, but good supporting cast. They've kind of been cast aside. Is this finally the year? The Sixers haven't won a title in more than 40 years. The Knicks haven't won a title in more than 50 years. The Timberwolves haven't won a title in infinite years. They've never done it, never even played for one. Do all 3 of them have the best chance they've had in 20 some odd years to do it this year? Maybe. Is this finally the year? Excellent season and excellent offseason. We know it's the number 1 seed and made the finals. And in the offseason, the Thunder broke. They add Alex Caruso. They add Hartenstein to get some rebounding.
Yeah.
The Mavs bring in Quentin Grimes and Klay Thompson and lose almost nothing as far as production goes. Excellent season, excellent offseason. And then at the top of the tier is running it back.
Solid.
They're just bringing everyone back, and they won 80 games last year and faced little resistance. That, Chris Broussard, are the committee's MVP.
Solid tiers, bro. No?
It was all right. You could have just went tier 10, tier 9.
Cleaner.
I am moving the Timberwolves up on the same level as OKC and Dallas.
Okay.
I think they definitely deserve to be up there. Look, I agree with you. Both of them had great off seasons. For Dallas, it wasn't just Klay either. You know, they added some other things that I think are going to make them better.
Najee Marshall, Quentin Grimes.
Yep. Yeah, Quentin, you really like. Grimes for his shooting.
Yep.
But OKC, I still feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like they're a year away from really being able to win the West and maybe win the whole thing. They're still so young. They've won 1 playoff series together, so I just think they're a year away from getting it done. So I'm going to move Minnesota up to join them, not to replace one, because I think that experience last year in the playoffs is going to be great for the Timberwolves. I think they definitely, in their mind and emotionally, celebrated after they beat Denver.
Yep.
And then they weren't even ready for Dallas. And I think they won't do that again. I think Anthony Edwards will not be emotionally exhausted in a deep playoff run because now he knows what it's all about. And they just, look, I'm not going to make too much out of this, but Joe Ingles,
They
not
just
a bad,
signed him
yeah,
an
they
hour
just
ago.
signed him. Not a bad, he's a career 41% shooter from 3. They lost Kyle Anderson. Look, I like Anderson's defense, and I think he gives them some toughness. But they're fine with him because he was a self-check. I mean, the dude just can't shoot. And so he's going to Golden State. He's kind of like a poor man's Draymond. So I like Minnesota, and I'm going to move quickly. The Sixers
You're doing
down. I'm switching Denver and the Sixers. That's all I'm saying.
Was it a bonus?
That's a bonus.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
It's a bonus.
Switching, I couldn't sit there and let that stay.
Oh.
Denver below the Sixers?
Let Wilds go.
I will also do that. So I don't
You're
know where
moving them up higher.
I'm moving them up to the second line, but you had moved them up to the third. So I guess I'm moving them up 1 to the second line. So I know what you're saying. Like, this is why they're on second. I'm giving respect to the Celtics, but there was one team that the Celtics had a hard time handling, and it was the Denver Nuggets. They were 19-80 against the rest of the NBA, but the Nuggets were 2-0.
It's the record versus the Celtics.
Yes,
the rest of the NBA was 19-80.
Yes, because Celtics
That's
did not
a weird
win the
way to put it.
championship with 19 wins.
That graphic's correct. It's phrased oddly, but go ahead.
I think he did.
Denver never lost to the Celtics,
Yeah.
and all the other teams did.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So you might say, like, wow, that's not fair. We saw Minnesota manhandle Denver, had big leads, either kept big leads or came back.
2 weeks.
And you know why that is? Jamal Murray was hurt. Usually Jamal Murray takes his regular season numbers and gets them better. This time, he was struggling on some bum knees and he was just a little bit hurt, throwing heat packs. We will see playoff Jamal Murray for Team Canada, who I'm here to announce before July 4th. I wouldn't dare do it on July 4th. I'm rooting for Team Canada a little bit too.
Are you picking Team Canada?
I'm picking
that's
USA.
what I want to hear.
I'm picking.
Are you picking?
You're
over Team
even
USA?
a sports polygamist.
I'm not
when it
allowed to
comes
like
the
Vince
Olympics.
Carter.
Vince Carter
Carter's
played for Team
America.
USA.
He played for the Raptors.
His most famous play when he dunked
Was
over
in
Frederick
the
Rice was
Olympics.
in the Olympics. For
Yeah,
Team
but in the
USA.
slam dunk contest, he was with the Raptors. And I know I like Kendrick Lamar. I also like Drake. Kill me.
Okay, all right.
I think you're picking Team Canada.
I'm not picking
Just
Team
go ahead and
Canada.
just listen.
I like Dylan Brooks, though. You know that.
he's
In any event, I got one more thing.
Oh, sorry.
I know you're thinking, oh, but what about these big leads and they kind of sleepwalk? They're like, we're the champs. We'll be fine. Well, what if you added Russell Westbrook, who just gives you a nice little bit of energy off the bench? He's only going to make about $4 million. Did he do great for the Clippers? No.
Did you see him in the playoffs?
That's not his role. Yeah, I saw him play great one game.
One game. And
That's
then
all
the
we
rest
need.
of the game. Okay.
Here's what I saw. I saw Denver blow a 20-point lead because they can't get anything going.
Yeah.
Nobody can create their own shot besides the big two.
Okay. This is the post-free agency tiers.
Yeah.
Which means built into it is the fact that, first of all, Russell Westbrook, is he on the Nuggets yet?
No, he's on the Clippers right
Okay.
But
all
sign
right,
and trade.
Okay. All right. So he's not on there yet.
No.
Meanwhile, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is gone.
That wasn't great.
It's not great. They are
keep
losing pieces. I will give some free advice to the Denver Nuggets. I think that during the season, you probably have to bite the bullet and trade Michael Porter Jr. for 3 $10 to $12 million a year role players. I think they
Junior's
need
important for them. You see how many times he'll hit a big
Max
score.
guy.
Yeah, I understand, but because
I
of where they are contract-wise, and evidently the Cronkies don't have enough money to pay the tax. What
They
are
got
we
a lot of money.
doing?
Yeah,
They got a lot of money,
got a
folks.
lot of money.
But regardless, I think splitting him up into 3. Obviously, the Giants needed to invest in the offensive line,
Yes.
and they did this offseason. Nobody denies that. Also, some of those sacks, though, are on Dable, the head coach, for not recognizing it on the fly and max protecting, doing things you need to do.
Sure.
Some of them are on Joe Shane for seeing Daniel Jones. All 3 of those injuries didn't happen last year, and he gave him the big contract extension after 1 year on the job. And some of those sacks are on Daniel Jones. Sacks are a quarterback stat as well. They are not just a quarterback stat, but there is. So Mahomes, who he invoked there, the Chiefs have had varying degrees of quality offensive line over the last 4 years. He is ranked in his amount of time sacked in the league 27th, 21st, 21st, 22nd. So that's been very consistent, even though the quality offensive line hasn't. Because sacks are something of a quarterback stat, evidenced by Sam Howell being powerbombed into the earth at a rate like we'd never seen before because he can't help himself. Sorry, Wilds. Well. So this falls to me, Brew, on a little bit of deaf ears, being like, what do you want us to do? It's not the guy who I gave $160 million to fault hard knock scammer in the corner of my office. It's
No, look, I totally agree. And we've seen Joe Burrow operate behind a poor offensive line. Now, he's gotten hurt.
I've seen him operate in the hospital.
No, but he gets hurt. He got hurt in practice rolling out.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know when the risk, when her injury occurred. So, but he's been able to maneuver poor offensive lines.
Guys.
No, he has consistently.
That first game, Giants-Cowboys, was there 1 second of that game where you're like, man, Daniel Jones, he's not getting it done?
I'm not saying.
Micah's like, oh, right there.
I think Nick hit on head. Everybody has a responsibility for those sacks, and their offensive line is horrible. But we see quarterbacks. Josh Allen's offensive lines aren't always the best. We see quarterbacks.
What was Purdy's ranked?
Purdy's was ranked 21st, bottom 11.
Purdy never had a game like that, and Purdy's slower
But how
than
much of
Daniel
that
Jones.
Quarterbacks
And how much
you
of that
have
is
to have a
Purdy?
quick release. You have to be mobile.
Quick
and you
release
have to
to
be
who?
smart. And
Who do you
ready
want
to
Daniel
get it done. Saquon Barkley's maneuvered okay. I get pass blocking and run blocking are different, but he's maneuvered okay through that offensive line. I'm not defending the line. I'm just saying it is clear that top-notch quarterbacks can maneuver a poor offensive line.
The poorest offensive line Patrick Mahomes ever had was in the Super Bowl, right? We're going to say that?
Yeah.
He was pressured on 33%
They were
of his
facing a
snaps.
Super Bowl team
Right, that's
as
the-
well.
And he
Super
had
Bowl
an
opponent.
a makeshift offensive line, and he was
Against
totally
a Super
ineffective.
Bowl. But that makeshift offensive line, I know the injuries occurred late in that season, but still, he maneuvered throughout the season.
Yeah, I know, but no, Mahomes' offensive line during that year was not as patchwork as it was
No, it got
in the Super Bowl.
decimated by the very end. That is
Yes,
correct.
and we saw him not be able to operate.
Except, right, but so I knew you were going to bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
And Brew's point but that was also against a great pass rush, not just your whole league schedule. But the other thing is, you know what a lot of people came away from that game saying? Oh my God, Mahomes actually kind of played great given the circumstances. People,
he was under duress.
You watched the game and you were like, oh, he was making things happen even though the team, he had no time. Not what people were saying when watching Daniel Jones. But now I wish I had a picture of Kevin Wildes. Dusty the boar.
Oh, wow.
There's not a lot of hard and
Please
fast
put Wildes
rules.
up there.
But
For
one
what?
of them
Tell
is
him